Hi, you guys. So I am going to help you with some example problems from Alex. I want you to copy down how to do each of these on that paper that I gave you so that when you go to finish your Alex assignment, you can use this as help. Okay, so question number 2 says find the area of the circle with a diameter of 18. So first thing I want to remind you of is that to find the area of a circle, we take the formula pi times radius squared. So when we're finding the area of a circle, we need the radius. What you've been given here is the diameter. So radius is half of the diameter. So if it's 18 from one side of the circle through the center to the other, it's 9 from the center of the circle to the outside. That's what radius is. Okay. It also tells us that we are going to use the value 3.14 for pi and do not round your answer. Be sure to include the correct unit in your answer. So here we go. We're going to take our formula. We're going to use it just like it is. We're just going to replace the pi with 3.14 because we know what that is. And we're going to replace the r with 9 because we know our radius is 9. And now we just follow the order of operations. We do our exponent first because we don't have anything to do in either one of the parentheses. So 9 squared, that's 9 times itself twice. 9 times 9 is 81. And then we're going to multiply that with 3.14. So I'm going to grab my calculator. 81 times by 3.14 is 254.34 feet squared. Okay, whenever you do an area, it's always whatever your units are squared. Okay, next one. I'm going to do this one because there were lots of students that have been having a hard time with this one. On this triangle, the height that is directly across from your right angle, that is called slant height. And when you're finding area of a triangle, you need to do 1/2 times the base times the height, and you never want to use the slant height, okay? You want to use the height, which is this one. So find your right angle. That'll help you find your height, and then this one right here is going to be your base, okay? So we're going to picture this triangle if we pull it out of the rectangle. And this is my right angle, okay? So you can see that that one directly across is the slant height. This one is the 8. This one is the 6. So if a right triangle is removed from a rectangle to create the shaded region below, find the area of the shaded region. So what we need to do here is we need to do the rectangle's area minus the triangle's area, and that is going to leave us with this shaded space. So to find the area of the rectangle, we know the base is 10, the height is 6. That's going to be 60 yards squared. Okay, so for area of a rectangle, it is simply just base times height. So if I plug into my formula, 10 for the base, 6 for the height, that's how I get the 60. And then we need to subtract out the area of our triangle. So we're going to take the 1/2 times by our base, which is 6, times by our height, which is 8. So that gives us 48 times 1/2, which is 24 yards squared. So when I subtract those, I get 36 yards squared. That gives me the shaded area. Okay, next one, find the area of the triangle. On this one, you can see that I've highlighted the base and the height. That 14 right here, we're not going to use that one. That is the slant of the triangle. That's not how tall it is. 6 is how tall it is. So 1/2 times the base, which is 7, times the height, which is 6, which gives us 21 yards squared. Okay, now this one says a training field is formed by joining a rectangle and 2 semicircles as shown below. So we have this rectangle right here, okay? This is part of our field. We also have 2 semicircles. This one right here is half of a circle, and then this one also is half of a circle. And those 2 semicircles, they're exactly the same size, right? And I want you to picture those two semicircles joining into one circle. So basically, if we're finding the area of this training field, we're going to have to add the area of the rectangle with the area of one circle. Okay, now for our rectangle, we know our base is 87. We know our height is 62. So for the area of a rectangle, we do base times height. So that is going to be 87 times by 62. And when I do that in my calculator, 87 times 62, I get 5,394. Okay, then I am going to add the area of my semicircle. So semicircle is, the area of my circle. I know that the distance across this circle is 62, which means my radius is going to be 31. So when we do area of a circle, we do pi times by, let me back up. This is getting a little bit messy. My pen is not writing very straight. So we're going to do area is equal to pi times by radius squared. So it tells us to use 3.14 for pi. I'm going to plug in 3.14 instead of the pi. And then for the radius, we're going to use 31. Okay? And we want to make sure that we do the 31 squared first. And then we're going to multiply that with 3.14, which gives us 3,017.54 that we are then going to add to the area of our rectangle 4. And our final answer is going to be 8,411.54 meters squared. Okay. Next one, a rectangular piece of paper with 39 centimeters in width, 20 centimeters has two semicircles cut out of it. Okay, so what we have is we have a rectangle piece of paper. Okay, we have a rectangle piece of paper. Okay, and then there are two semicircles cut out of it. Okay, so we're cutting out this part, we're cutting out this part, and we want to know what the space is in the paper left after we cut the semicircle out. So those two semicircles join to make one circle. We know that from one side of the circle to the other, it's going to be 20. We know that the base of the rectangle is 39, and we know the height is 20. We know that this time we're going to subtract these two because we want to know the paper that's going to be left, right? Out after the two semicircles are cut out of it. So the way that we do this is we do base times height for the rectangle, 39 times 20, which is 780. And then we subtract the area of the circle. So to find that, we have to do pi times radius squared. Our diameter is 20, which means our radius is 10, right? Half. Radius is half the distance. So if the full distance is 20, then that means half of this is going to be 10. Sorry, that got a little messy. Okay, then we're going to multiply that with 3.14. So we do the 10 squared first, 10 times 10. Then we multiply that with 3.14, which gives us 314. So when I take 780 and I minus 314, I get 466 centimeters squared. Voila, that's the space that we have left. Okay, and then the last one, a rectangle is placed around a semicircle as shown below. The length of the rectangle is 14. Find the area of the shaded region. Okay, now this one is a little bit tricky. And the reason it's a little bit tricky is because they give you this length of the rectangle, And you're going to have to use the circle to help you find this length right here. Okay, you're going to have to use the circle to help you find this length right here. Okay, because this is really the radius of the circle, and the 14, that's going to be the diameter of the circle, which means we know that our radius is going to be 7. So if the radius is 7, that means that the height of the rectangle is 7. So for this one, we're going to take our rectangle. Okay, we're going to take the area of our rectangle, and we know that this is 14. We now know that this is 7, and then we're going to subtract out the area of half of a circle. This is only half of a circle. So what we're going to need to do is find the full area of the circle, and then when we're done, we're going to have to divide that by 2 because we only want half of it. So here we go. 14 times 7 is 98. Minus, to find the area of the circle, we're going to do pi times radius squared. So our radius in this case is 7. So 7 squared times by 3.14. So 7 squared times by 3.14 gives us 153.86. But we have to divide that by 2 because we only want half, right? We only want half of this circle. So that gives me 76.93. 76.93. So when I take the 98, I minus the 76.93, I get 21.07 yards squared. Okay, there you go. So go ahead and finish your Alex assignment, and then when you're done with that, you are going to work on your surface area ornaments.